Okay, so imagine this. You're 9 years old. Your dad just got poisoned, and your entire tribe, the people who are supposed to protect you, they look at your mom, look at you, and go, "Yeah, we're not feeding you. Good luck out there." And they leave. They literally just leave you to die. Most kids in that situation, dead, game over, respawn as someone else. But this kid grows up to build the largest land empire in human history. Bigger than Rome, bigger than Alexander, bigger than anyone before or since. This is the story of Temüjin, the abandoned boy who became Genghis Khan. So let's set the scene. It's around 1162, somewhere on the Mongolian steppe, and life out here is brutal. We're talking rival tribes fighting constantly, people stealing each other's wives, murdering each other over horses, and if winter comes and you don't have enough food, you're done. Into this mess, a baby is born. His name is Temujin, which means blacksmith or of iron. And according to legend, this baby comes out clutching a blood clot in his tiny fist, which the Mongols took as a sign that he was destined for greatness. Or bloodshed, or both. His dad was Yasuge, a minor tribal chief, not super powerful but respected enough. And when Temujin was about 9 years old, his father took him on a trip to find him a wife. Because yeah, they arranged marriages when you were literally still a child. Different times. They find a girl named Borte from a neighboring tribe. The families agree to the match, and Temujin stays with Borte's family to basically work as a servant until he's old enough to actually marry her. But on the way home, Yasuge makes a mistake. He stops at a Tatar camp for food. Now, the Tatars and the Mongols, they hated each other. And someone at that camp recognized Yasuge as the guy who killed one of their chiefs years ago. So they poisoned him. Yasuge barely makes it home before he dies. And just like that, 9-year-old Temujin is fatherless. Now here's where it gets really messed up. Temujin rushes back to his family's camp, thinking he's going to take over as a new chief. He's the eldest son after all, that's how it's supposed to work. But the tribe looks at this scrawny little kid and says, "No, we're not following a child. We're not sharing our food with your family. You're on your own." And they literally abandoned Temujin, his mother Holen, his brothers, and his half-brothers in the middle of the wilderness. No horses, no livestock, no protection, just left them there to starve. His own people did this. Holen, Temujin's mom, she's incredible though. She refuses to let her kids die. She teaches them to hunt small animals, dig up roots, catch fish. They survive on marmots, wild onions, and whatever scraps they can find. This goes on for years of barely surviving, years of being the lowest of the low. And during this time, something starts to harden inside Temujin. So Temujin has a half-brother named Bekter, same dad, different mom. And Bekter is older, bigger, and he started acting like he's in charge of the family. One day, Temujin and his brother Hasar catch a fish. A single fish, and Bekter just takes it, eats it himself. This wasn't the first time either. Bekter had been stealing their food, pulling rank, and there were even rumors he wanted to marry Hoelen, Temujin's own mother, to cement his position as head of the family. Temujin had had enough. So one day, he and Kasar follow Bekter out while he's watching the family's horses. They sneak up behind them with bows. Bekter sees him, he knows what's about to happen, and according to the legends, he doesn't even run. He just sits there and says something like, "Why do you treat me like an eyelash in the eye? There is no one but us. Do not destroy your own hearth." Temujin shoots him anyway. His mother was furious. She screamed at him, called him and Kasar destroyers and wolves who devour their own. But what's done was done. Temujin was now the undisputed head of the family, and he had proven to himself and everyone else that he would do whatever it took to survive. Word gets out about Bekter's death, and the Taichud clan, the same people who abandoned Temujin's family, they hear about it and think, "This kid is dangerous. We need to deal with him before he grows up and comes for revenge." So they send warriors to capture him. Temujin sees them coming and runs. He hides in the forest for 9 days. 9 days of surviving on roots and bark, sleeping in crevices, constantly moving. But eventually, he gets caught. They drag him back to their camp and lock him in a kang. That's this heavy wooden collar thing that traps your neck and hands. You can walk, but you can't do anything else. You can't feed yourself, you can't even lie down properly. They parade him around camp as a prisoner, humiliate him. Every night he's passed to a different family to guard. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these families actually feel sorry for him. One family in particular, Sorkhan Shira and his sons, they secretly remove the kang at night so he can actually sleep. They give him food, they treat him like a human being, and Temujin never forgets this. One night, during a festival when everyone's drunk, Temujin makes his move. He knocks out his guard with the kang itself, runs to the river, and hides in the water with just his face above the surface. When the Temujin comes searching, guess who finds him? Sorkhan Shira, the same guy who showed him kindness. And Sorkhan Shira pretends he didn't see anything. He tells the other searchers to move on. Later that night, he gives Temujin a horse and tells him to go. Temujin escapes, and years later, when he becomes the most powerful man in the world, he rewards Sorkhan Shira's family with freedom and honor. Because Temujin remembered. He always remembered. So Temujin is free. He's maybe 16 now, and he decides to finally go claim his bride, Borte, the girl he was promised to all those years ago. Amazingly, her family still honors the deal. They get married. Borte's family gives him a beautiful black sable coat as a wedding gift. For a brief moment, things are actually looking up. Then the Merkits show up. See, Temujin's father had kidnapped his mother, Holan, from the Merkit tribe years ago. The Merkits never forgot. They've been waiting for revenge, and now they saw their chance. They raid Temujin's camp in the middle of the night. Temujin, his brothers, his mother, they all escape on horseback. But there aren't enough horses for everyone. Borta gets left behind. The Merkits take her. They give her to one of their warriors as a wife, and Temujin is left hiding in the mountains, powerless, while his wife is in enemy hands. This could have broken him. A lot of men would have just accepted it, moved on, found another wife. But Temujin refused. He went to Togrul Khan, a powerful leader who had been friends with his father, and basically begged for help. He gave Togrul that precious sable coat, the only valuable thing he owned, as a gift, and Togrul agreed to help. Then Temujin reunited with an old friend, Jamuka. They had been blood brothers as kids, swearing eternal loyalty to each other. Jamuka brought his own army. Together, they rode north. They found the Merkit camp by Lake Baikal, and they absolutely destroyed it. The Merkits scattered, and in the chaos, Temujin rode through the camp screaming, "Berte, Berte," over and over. And then, in the moonlight, she heard him. She was pregnant. The child might have been Temujin's, or it might have been her captor's. They would never know for sure. But Temujin claimed the boy, named Jochi, as his own son, and Borte remained his first and most important wife for the rest of his life. This moment, this rescue, it was the beginning of everything, because now Temujin had proven he could lead men into battle. He had powerful allies, and he had a reason to keep fighting. After the rescue, Temujin and Jamuka were closer than ever. For about a year and a half, their tribes traveled together, ate together, fought together. They were brothers in every way that mattered. But something started to change. See, Jamuka was old school. He believed in the traditional way, where power came from bloodlines, from noble families, from the aristocracy. You were born into your place, and that was that. Temujin was different. He promoted people based on ability, not birth. He shared the spoils of battle with everyone, not just the nobles. He welcomed commoners and even former enemies into his ranks if they proved loyal. People started leaving Jamuka's camp to join Temujin. Not because Temujin was stronger. At this point, Jamuka was actually more powerful. but because they saw something different in him, something fairer. One night, Bortha told Temujin they needed to leave. She sensed that Jamuka was growing jealous, that their friendship was about to turn sour. So they packed up and slipped away. The split wasn't immediately violent, but the tension grew. And then Jamuka's brother tried to steal some of Temujin's horses and got killed in the process. Jamuka used this as an excuse to declare war. What followed was over a decade of fighting. Jamuka would win some battles. Temujin would win others. Jamuka even got himself elected Gur Khan, universal ruler, by a coalition of tribes who wanted to stop Temujin's rise. But Temujin kept winning people over, not just through battle, but through his reputation. Eventually, Jamuka's own men betrayed him. They captured him and handed him over to Temujin, expecting a reward. Temujin had them all executed, because traitors are traitors, even when they're on your side. Then he sat down with his former blood brother for the last time. According to legend, Temujin actually offered Jamuka a way out. He asked him to rejoin him, to be brothers again, to share in everything he had built. But Jamuka refused. He told Temujin something like, "There can only be one sun in the sky. If I stay, I will be a louse in your collar, a thorn in your side. You will never be at peace." He asked for a noble death, without blood being spilled. That was the Mongol tradition for killing nobility. Temujin granted his request. They broke Jamuka's back, and Temujin buried him with honor, along with the golden belt they had exchanged when they first became blood brothers as children. It was 1206. Temujin was around 44 years old, and he had finally united all the Mongol tribes under his rule. At a great assembly on the banks of the Onan River, he was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The boy who had been abandoned to die had conquered everyone who ever wronged him. The Tatars who poisoned his father? Destroyed. The Taichiud who enslaved him? Crushed. The Merkits who stole his wife? Wiped off the face of the earth. And he was just getting started. What Genghis Khan did after 1206 is honestly insane. His empire eventually stretched from Korea to Eastern Europe. His armies killed millions. He changed the genetic makeup of Asia forever. Some studies say about 1 in 200 men alive today are descended from him. But none of that would have happened without everything that came before. The abandonment, the starvation, the murder, the slavery, the betrayal. Every single thing that tried to destroy Temujin just made him stronger. He learned that the world was brutal, and he became more brutal than the world. Whether that makes him a hero or a monster, I'll let you decide. If you want to hear more insane stories from nomadic history, subscribe to The Nomadic Historian, and let me know in the comments, what do you think about Genghis Khan? Was he a visionary leader or history's greatest villain? I'll see you in the next one.